This podcast is brought to you by our supporters at Patreon. Did you know that if you signed up right now at our $5 tier at patreon.com/dissectingthe80s, you would get 24 bonus episodes, nearly 34 hours of additional content of this show. And I'm talking some pretty heavy hitters, movies like Die Hard, Dirty Dancing, Flashdance, Lost Boys, She's All That, Adventures in Babysitting, Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, Back to the Future, The Thing, Ghostbusters, Footloose, Lethal Weapon, Tremors, My Blue Heaven, Halloween, and so much more. Visit patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out how you can get more of this podcast that you're listening to.
I forgot Tremors was a Patreon.
Among many other wonderful films. Welcome to Dissecting the 80s. I am Trip Lano, one half of the Mega Podcasting Powers, and with me, as always, is a man who knows more about salsa and chips than sailing ships, the Macho Mandrew.
Andrew Lano, or Red Speedos.
That's also fair, although I don't think I've ever seen the Red Speedo myself. I just, heard its legend. It is the second half of Russel-Mania here on the podcast. Oops, no Carpenters this time. We are doing
almost a Carpenter though, this one.
Yeah, we'll get into all of the weirdness of this particular movie. 91, 92, I forget what year this is. I
2 or 3,
these down. I think it's 92. We'll say 92. I'm going to be confident and say it's the year you were born. The Kurt Russell, Martin Short, kind of almost summer rental-ish movie.
Got similar energy.
Yes. Anyway, we watched Captain Ron, and you know what that means.
We gotta go back. We're gonna go dissect the 80s. It's the second best Kurt Russell eye patch. So I'm gonna go to the second best Kurt Russell eye patch.
When the mega powers explode.
I'm talking about the 80s. Oh, yeah.
Great Scott!
Cream of the crop. Oh, yeah.
Mega powers, yeah!
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
I'm going to quibble with you there. I think it's the third best Kurt Russell eye patch because I think this movie is maybe worse than Escape from LA. I'm not sure.
Well, I was including Snake Plissken as
Snake Plissken, one character,
as one eye
Captain
patch.
Ron, second character.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever seen this before? Was this
is the first time.
for you?
It's perfectly middle of the road. It is.
Yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't encountered it before because of how the star power of it. You feel like it would have been on cable.
Also feels exactly like a vacation home movie.
Oh, 100%.
Like this is a battered VHS cardboard box, or I guess DVD, battered cardboard DVD cover when it's just the cardboard cover and the plastic clippy on the side. It's exactly that.
To be clear, last summer my wife's family, I went with my wife's family to the beach, and the house we rented was called Summer Rental, which I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I looked through the pictures, and in the basement there were 2 posters hanging up. One was this, and the other was indeed Summer Rental.
Huh. Okay, so people get it.
And they had a signed picture of John Candy that looked remarkably similar to the very silly beach attire I usually wear. So I took a picture of myself holding it, which is now in our new Patreon newsletter. So if you're Patreon folks, that's the origins of that photo. Patreon.com/dissectingthe80s to find out about all the great stuff you can pick up and support the show. We have this wild, just absolutely buck wild chorus thing starting the movie with
it's very Working Girl. It's like Working Girl on the island.
It's also the same kind of singing chorus thing a little bit that Butch Cassidy does, which is my least favorite part of that movie, a movie that I like quite a bit.
I have not seen that, actually. I'll admit that.
And we have a casual suicide as
is
we
that what it was?
Are that's what I thought it was.
There was no blood, though.
That's fair, but we're about to burst into the circle of life is what it seems like is the soundtrack is building to as this what I thought was a suicide happens.
Yeah. This bike messenger brings his bike into an elevator, which feels like don't do that. Leave it in the lobby.
There must be a place where you can lock this thing up for 10 minutes while you deliver this package.
Or even behind the desk. Come on.
Yeah. Or hey, I have to get in first and, have my own elevator or something.
Yeah.
I will say this is kind of a nice, the rat race like it's the same intro as Summer Rental where it's like, oh, this job is
and
stressful.
Vegas Vacation.
And Vegas Vacation, that's true. Although, isn't it Vegas Vacation? He's like driving the car home like a maniac.
He is, but it's still very rat racy. Like it feels very job oriented.
Oh, okay. I thought you were confusing me saying rat race as in like the job grind with the
movie Rat Race. No.
Which Chevy Chase is driving would also be at home.
It could be both.
Like
I heard this new term on the radio, the rat race.
The coffee gets ruined, and then there's like I wrote down the sheer panic of mortality of just like, this is how I'm spending my life minutes.
Truly, true. Well, because the guy in the elevator who is a Judy Greer type in that, like, you know him from stuff. I know him from The Birdcage. He's one of the paparazzos in The Birdcage.
Oh, okay.
He's the one talking about like, no one actually is doing, like, you want to be a writer, but you don't write anything. Like, we all are here just like slaving away.
Yeah. So it's like very quickly we're like, Martin Short hates his job, or at least finds his job to be a grind, and is like looking for a break.
We're like, welcome to the club.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that as a jumping off point for a movie, I think is like completely logical. Like it's surprising me that there isn't 2 movies a year like that, right? That like obviously you see it pretty frequently, but it's I would say
10% of people in the world do not find their job to be a grind.
Yeah, that's probably about right. Maybe 15, but yeah, I think you're probably about right with 10. That seems like right in the ballpark. Yeah. Even if you like generally like your job, like it's, you got to go there every day. You don't necessarily want to do that. Yeah. He comes home. We've had a good streak of like nice couples on the podcast lately, which I enjoy. It's just like,
I like their chemistry a lot.
Yeah. He's like putting the moves on the wife. And there's like a very playful rejection, which is like clearly a maybe later wink, but like,
because she's like on the phone with a client and it's clearly like not the first time he's done this in their relationship.
Yeah. But it's like very cute and charming. And like, it's, it's a loving couple that, they seem like they're very fond of each other. It's played very well by both of them.
Yeah, it doesn't feel angry or skeevy, which is sort of how like the King of Queens version of this goes with what's her face going, not today, Kevin James.
Yeah. Like, and that's just like the way those shows choose to play it. But it's, it's nice to just see this like, oh, okay. They like each other. That's good. The boy is from The Nanny, right? You are the
he is from The Nanny, but he's got young. At first, I thought it was a young Ryan Gosling, but I was like, this might be actually about the time frame for a young Ryan Gosling.
It's close. I think this kid's a little bit older.
Maybe, yeah, but yeah, he's
because Gosling was in the Mickey Mouse Club with Britney Spears and Timberlake, so that
he was in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, or Goosebumps. So he was in one of the. They both did the camera predicts death thing, and he's in one of those. He's the camera predicts death episode of either Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps.
Okay, so yeah, that feels right around the right. Like this kid's probably 2 or 3 years older, not 10 years older.
Yeah, but he's Brighton from The Nanny.
We get this letter, and it turns out Marty Short is eligible for this $250,000 boat inheritance.
Mm-hmm. He has to go get it, though.
But the catch is you have to go get the boat, and the wife's like, absolutely not.
Well, because his pitch includes 45 days of sailing, which, like, hey, buddy, work on your pitch.
Yeah.
You're clearly not an ad man.
It seems pretty hard for most people to be like, hey, job, I'm going to take a sabbatical.
Not even job-wise, but, like, person-wise. I don't want to be on a tiny boat for 45 days. I wouldn't want to be on a large boat for 45 days.
I think I would enjoy this situation more than a cruise ship.
I think you're getting real punchy.
I think there's less time on open water than you're thinking. I think you're like tooling around. I think you're hitting islands. I think you're doing fun stuff. Like this movie goes sideways and they're running from criminals and such. But I think the plan was to go to like Aruba, Jamaica. Ooh, I want to take you, to do like the whole.
But they're very clearly Griswolding and being like, we have to be together the whole time. And it's like, well, hang on.
Well,
if you're stuck on a boat for 4 days at sea and then in a port I need to be not near you people for a couple hours.
I was going to say, I feel like on this boat, it's pretty much impossible not to be close to one another.
Yeah.
Literally. And
I need to go faceplant into a bunch of French fries for a few hours away from you people.
The daughter is having a makeout party with this boy, and it's like, oh, surprise, we're engaged. And I was like, wait, isn't this girl in high school? Is she even a senior?
She's 16.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great punchline because it was very much like, you know how in movies and TV shows they're like, I am never, ever watching The Notebook. Smash cut to the guy in like a Blockbuster getting The Notebook.
Yeah.
The mom is like, we are an absolute, there's nothing in the world that would make me want to uproot this family and take them on a boat. And she comes in and goes, yes. I'm engaged. Smash cut to the boat.
Yes, I wrote down genius levels edit of this smash cut.
It's also interesting because when she comes in, she's wearing like a leather jacket and like a mini skirt, and she looks kind of like a bad girl, but not
like punk-ish,
punk adjacent. And because her boyfriend is also that, and I was like, oh, is she like? And then it wasn't super clear if she was like just like a mirror, because some people are just mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
And then later she starts adopting because like nothing else she wears in the movie feels punkish.
No, this feels like certainly is a phase.
Yeah.
Although what I really would like to drill down is like let's pause the main movie here and let's have a side movie wherein we find out what motivated this 16-year-old boy to propose.
Maybe he's not 16. Maybe
okay.
He's the like got held back a few grades guy.
Even if he's like 21, I feel like this is a wild move to make, unless it's the like, hey, I'm waiting for marriage. Okay, let's get married. Which is what
could be.
Yeah. But I would just like to see, I'd like to see like at the end credits, deleted scenes, just while the credits are going, just like show me the situation in which he is talking to his friends and his friends are like, why did you propose? You're a child. And he's like, dude, I just wanted to get some or whatever. They pull up to the boat, and it is almost literally the Barnacle from Summer Rental,
or a theme park set.
Like, oh yeah, that's
it looks like something kids are supposed to like run around on, and like if you push the horn, water squirts out of the foghorn.
Yes. It's just like entirely a splash pad.
Yes, it's a splash. It looks like a kid's splash pad.
Yeah. They start like inspecting the boat, and it's way worse for wear than they were understanding that it was.
It's a classic no follow-up questions or photographs situation.
Yes. Yeah. And like you can kind of excuse it. It's 1992. It's not like there were emails, But
you would think you would be like, hey, ring, hello?
Oh.
Lawyer, can you include a photograph of the boat with today's newspaper?
Right. Yeah, can you overnight me some Polaroids?
Or fax. There were faxes.
I don't think you'd be able to see the level of detail that would let you know what.
But you could see if it was a piece of shit. Like I think you can see that much.
I don't know. I've never seen a photo in a fax look good.
I mean, it's not going to be like a headshot, but you will at least be like, hey, it looks like this boat is falling apart. It looks like Universal Studios is about to destroy this boat and piss off Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. I always think of the faxes that we would get when I was an intern that was like from some scammy, like, you want a free vacation kind of offers. And they always look like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yeah, they don't look good, for sure.
But so he calls in to the lawyer and he's like, explain the situation. And the lawyer immediately is like putting his hand over the receiver. Hey, cancel the good driver and get whoever we can find because we are not wasting money on this dump.
Well, I was confused by this because he goes, clearly he knows Martin Short is being cagey. And he goes, just get the boat here and we'll figure it out. And then when he hangs up, he turns to his like assistant and he goes, cancel him and find a local. And she goes, a local on the island that the boat is coming from? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, why would you they're going to Miami.
I think we were supposed to ascertain that meant because of general racism that they wouldn't be very good.
I know, but it just seemed if you're going to make a racist joke, make it make sense at all.
Right.
Make it understand that it's racist.
Also, is there ever a promise to Kurt that he's getting like a plane ticket back? Like that the compensation includes a plane ticket?
Never discussed.
That's the part. That's the part where I'm like, he's certainly not being paid enough to like earn much after the plane ticket he has to pay for to get home.
Well, I also thought it was funny that Martin Short is like, we'll go down there and we'll hire a captain to teach us how to sail on the way back. And I was like, well, why the fuck are you learning how to sail if you're selling the boat?
I do see the value in like that being kind of like a fun activity, right? That it's like the stakes are very low. If you don't actually learn it to where you can do it yourself, it doesn't actually matter. But it's like, it's not just like we're going to be sitting on this boat board. It's like, no, we're going to learn how to change the sails and how to steer.
Hoist
and like,
the jib.
Hoist the jib.
Whatever else they say in The Little Mermaid when the storm happens.
Let out the mainsail, jive ho, whatever. So I see that. I personally like that pitch would appeal to me. I never did it, obviously, but there was a winter mini study abroad thing at Maryland when I was there that I like very seriously contemplated doing, where you would set off like 3 days after Christmas and sail to the Caribbean and back. Oh. And it was like 15 or 25 people, like a relatively small boat, and you like learned how to operate the boat, and you spent this time at sea, and then you learned like there was some sort of bullshit course on the ocean or something, right? Like you got
it sounds like the beginning bullshit. Of like that TV show. No, that was a plane. The kids on the plane that crashed TV show. Flight 29 down.
There was a series of books called The Island that was like, why?
Oh yeah. It was like Paul Zindel or like a.
It wasn't, but it was an author just like that.
In that caliber of author.
Paul Tremblay maybe is the name.
I don't know, because there was an Everest.
No, that's the wrong name.
There was an Everest, there was an island, and there was a third one that I can't remember.
Okay, I'm not going to spend time looking it up, but my brain just decided that it's Gordon Corman or
that
something. That
100% would be Gordon. I feel like it's definitely Gordon Corman.
So like some listener out there is going to be like, finally, but I think that's right. I read them.
I mean, he's on the same caliber as Paul Zindel, so like.
Yeah, I read them during the Panini, so it's like it should be fresh to me. It of course is not.
I mean, they were young adult, like 300-page max books.
They're not even that. They're more like tween books, like for a 12-year-old.
It's the same as
into novels.
I was reading those when I was reading my like PC Hawk murder mystery books, which were Paul Zindel. I'm like 99% sure.
Okay, I remember these being more like 200 pages.
Yeah, it's in that. It's
150 pages.
It's not a big read, and there were 3 of them.
Okay, I tried to Google it, and I'm just getting the Adrian McKinty book, The Island, also a good book, but not the one I was looking for. And I'm not going to spend 100 hours trying to search this because that is very boring.
If you look at Everest YA book series, you would probably find it.
If it happens to be the same author, what if you're wrong?
This author found a formula in Teens in Peril in a remote location and didn't milk it for all it's worth.
I mean, I'm just saying that the Everest is Gordon Corman.
Then it's Gordon. It's the G-Man. There's a third one. He did The Island. He did. Actually, I think The Island inspired Flight 29 down. Now that I think about it,
it feels like that. Yeah,
it was Island, Everest, and the third one that I don't remember.
Well, in any case, it did remind me a bit of that. So Kurt rolls up. He gets out of the car, and the car proceeds to continue rolling into the ocean, which I liked quite a lot.
Yeah.
But immediately his dialogue all sounded like ADR to me for like the first half hour, and then I either got used to it.
I didn't think that, but I liked his voice. I liked his voice and eye patch.
You liked the voice.
I did. I thought that because it wasn't Kurt Russell.
That the voice is my least favorite part of the character. That's fascinating.
I feel like this movie could very easily be Kurt Russell on a boat, which like
that's what I wanted. That's what I was hoping.
I've seen Overboard. Like I have Kurt Russell on a boat, and it's called Overboard, and Goldie Hawn is there.
So here's what I wanted. I wanted Jack Burton on a boat.
Which one's Jack Burton? Is he Overboard?
The Big Trouble in Little China.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Okay, I can see that.
I wanted a confident buffoon,
which he is,
and yes, he is. But he's more competent than I think he gets credit for in this movie. Which isn't to say that he's fully competent, but he's portrayed it being like a 1 out of 10, and he's really more like a 5, maybe a 6.
He's solid middle.
Yeah. Like he has actual knowledge of what he was doing, but I wanted it to be that he's like, I can drive a boat, sure. You know, like that's what I was
wanted him to be
for.
a truck driver who thought a boat would be the same thing.
Functionally, yes. It doesn't need to be that exact thing, but I wanted it to be like, I wanted the scene to be like the woman hangs up or leaves the office with the boss, walks into the other room, picks up a phone, the phone rings, it's in a bar, and Kurt is like sloshed at the end of the bar.
Face down in peanuts.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy's like, "Is anybody here captain a boat?" And Kurt sits up and is like, "I can do it. I can drive anything." And they're like, "Okay, this guy'll do it." Like, that's what I was hoping for.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But what I really don't... My bigger beef is this, like, he's doing, like... What it seems to me is he put the eye patch on and was like, "Oh, so we're doing Snake Plissken." And it's like, Captain Ron shouldn't be down here. This guy's a little scary. And that's what I was like really bugging out.
You thought the voice
time.
was leaning scary?
I think the voice was leaning tough guy, and this character doesn't seem tough to me. He seems wily.
I got like gruff, like.
But this character doesn't read gruff to me. He's walking around in a Speedo and trying to have sex with everything that moves.
He's a little gruff though.
He's like a Lothario gruff, which is like, oh, he's a little bit scary for the way it attracts the women that he wants to have.
He's not he's not fully the seaplane captain in Bob's Burgers in terms of Lothario-ness.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the movie I started to be like, he wants to like, is he trying to like single weight female Martin Short out of this family?
Right. Like, he's trying to have sex with both Martin Short's wife and daughter.
And turn the son into, like, a servant. Like, it feels like the weirdest porn version of Cinderella.
I didn't get servant as much as I got, like, he's actually coaching the kid, but everybody else he's just trying to shtup.
But he kept being like, "Hey, get me a beer. Do this."
Yeah. He gets on the boat, he starts checking things out.
Immediately tells a story about how he sank his last boat.
Yes. Yeah. And then he's like looking at the motor and is like, it's fine. We just got to put a lot of oil in it every day. And it's like, well, that seems like it's not fine then.
And we also, we see Martin Short put oil in this boat a lot. And then all of a sudden in the midnight hour, they're like, I guess he forgot to put oil in it. I was like, then I need a pointed moment. I need the camera to show me a pointed moment of like a not punched can of oil next to the thing. Like, show me that he didn't do it today, because you showed me so much I just assumed he's been doing it all the time.
Oh, but you see him like go to start the boat and he doesn't do the oil. Like, I immediately was like, oh shit, he didn't put the oil in the boat.
But like, I guess I just I assumed that he had done it because you'd shown me so many times. I needed you to like
were showing it to you so that when he didn't do it, you'd be like, "The oil, Martin, the oil."
But there wasn't like a moment where he skipped over. Like, I need to see him skip doing it.
Look, certainly in 1992, when this was a theatrical release, people are in the theaters. All 9 of them who saw this movie theatrically were like, "Martin, the oil!" They were screaming.
This hour and 40 movie, you could have shuffled and cut and snipped a few things to show me the 30 seconds of like the full can of oil.
Or just like have him take the funnel out of the motor and put the cap on without ever putting the oil in. That would do it. We would glean that, right? So he's bullshitting. And this is the other thing is like, I thought he was lying about the motor.
Oh yeah.
But like,
well, I thought he was lying about everything. I was like, they're going to get somewhere and realize that they're going to, we have a wire for the Harvey family from Captain Ron. And it's like, you left without me.
Yeah. Cause that would have been funnier, honestly. Like, that's a much better.
But then we get into like, are they being kidnapped? It's like, hang on, this family got kidnapped by a crazy person.
Yeah, but that's a funny movie. Like,
I agree.
They're kidnapped. That would be a Mrs. Doubtfire situation, right? Where it's like, we have so come to love the criminal at the heart of this story that it's fine.
A little bit, but it doesn't. But at least Mrs. Doubtfire didn't kidnap anybody. She broke She broke court order, but she didn't kidnap people.
She broke court order and like functionally was kidnapping those children every time she took them anywhere. Like, she was pretending to be a different person and taking possession of those children and doing God knows what with them.
I didn't realize she took them places. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Oh yeah. Remember they like go to the pool,
but they go as a family, not Sally Struthers. What's her name?
Sally Struthers.
Sally Field.
Isn't Sally Struthers like a news person or something?
I don't know. She might be. Yeah.
Mom had a lot of affection for some Sallys. There's also like, what was the other one?
Was Sally Struthers the actress?
There's also Sally Starr, which Mom talks about all the time, and I always have to be like, Mom, I love you, but I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know who that is. It's like
Sally Struthers is an actress.
I think Sally Struthers did a.
Sally Struthers is from All in the Family.
I think she did one of those celebrity ghost story TV shows too.
Okay.
And my boyfriend was like, "Hey, you got to watch this because Sally Struthers talks just like your mom when she tells stories."
Oh. Also, apparently Babette on the Gilmore Girls. So.
Oh, I'm not a Gilmore head.
Yeah, me either. They talk too fast. It makes me anxious.
It's not even that. I just have never gotten into it.
Not a bit. They literally talk so fast it makes my heart beat.
I know. I believe you. That's why a lot of people don't like the show.
I cannot handle it. So anyway, he offers the kid a job. Captain Ron does as he's bullshitting with the motor. And so this is where I thought we were setting up like, okay, he's going to say this about the motor because he clearly like he's on the run or whatever. Like we see the guys chasing him here in a moment. And this is going to lead to shenanigans, but it doesn't. What leads to shenanigans is he's right and Martin Short fucks up, which is crazy. Like I cannot believe that's how
it's
this
like a 50-50.
resolves.
Like Martin Short charts a course and then Captain Ron keeps fucking it up. It's like a 50-50.
Well, yeah, they ruin the map very early. I'm just saying, I like the motor payoff, not the whole bit. You're totally right about the larger scale. I was just saying, on the context of the motor only, I was like, oh, okay. So this leads to like at some point like a boom. Oh, the motor's dead. We're stuck. What are we gonna do now?
Yeah,
we have to learn to sail. Okay.
Vertical explosion.
Yeah, yeah. And like I what I thought it was going to be was the motor dies, leading to them having to work together to sail the boat, and everybody kind of comes together over the hardship.
Yeah. There's also a weird moment where like Captain Ron is like, "Oh, we'll go get something," and he turns around and sees his car isn't there. But like, how did you not hear it splash into the water 20 minutes ago?
Right.
There's three men. Like, it looks like old. Go with me on this journey. Old men who hang out on docks. Like, even if you've never been on a dock, you know who you picture what I'm saying when I say old men on a dock. It's just three old men on a dock looking at the bubbling water where his car once was, and he reacts as though it was their car and they're screaming at him.
Yes.
He gets real squirrely for these just like gentle old men who are not talking to anybody, just looking at the water, and he's like, "Oh God, we gotta get out of here!" And I was like,
"Well, then we see the bad guys coming."
It felt like they edited it wrong. Like it felt like it was supposed to be Kurt look. It was supposed to be men look at the sea. Kurt looks that way. Shot of the guy driving his car in, then Kurt being squirrely. Like, it didn't match up.
100% right. Yeah, no, 100%. He does like a Scooby-Doo out of there. You can practically hear the like feet noises.
And then they just get to their first port. And I was like, oh, really? There was no, I don't know, like high seas shenanigans? No, nothing? It was just, we're here now? Okay.
Yeah, well, there's a shootout a little bit. And then Kurt is
not
like,
even a shootout.
You drive the boat.
It's just like a gun being fired into the air. It's not even like, it's so weird in a movie about like a shenanigan movie that it's like, this is a shenanigan-free passage of time.
Yeah. Except for the part where he's like, "Hey, you drive the boat, bud," and he slaps him on the back and goes to take a nap.
Yeah. Ron sleeps with his eye patch over his real eye because he has a glass eye.
Which later comes up as like I won it in a poker game. Which, like, again, what is this man? I want to know more about this Cat in the Hat figure.
Did you hear that fucking Cat in the Hat ass ending narration for him? Like the ending of this just as quickly as he appeared, he vanished or whatever the hell. I was like, what?
Literally the last note of my notes here is on the back of this page says, "And just as quickly as he sailed into our lives, he sailed right back out again."
That Cat in the Hat.
Yeah. I could not believe they did a Cat in the Hat ending.
Wild.
Like, we'll get there, obviously. But yeah, he puts the eye patch on the good eye, which honestly is kind of akin to Indiana Jones, like pulling the hat down.
Oh yeah, I see it.
To get some sleep.
Also, apparently, at one point in the movie, like in the production, Martin Short was supposed to be Captain Ron, and Kurt Russell was supposed to be the family man.
Honestly, that might be the more interesting movie.
But like, okay. Martin Short's very handsome, and especially this era Martin Short, a handsome man. But there is not a universe in which Martin Short steals someone from Kurt Russell. Sorry, I don't buy that.
Yeah, but you gotta think like it wouldn't be Kurt Russell with like the good haircut, flowing cabbage that we're so used to. It would be like the mean season Kurt Russell, where he's just like a guy,
I'm picturing the same hairdo as last episode, where it's like not bad hair.
The haircut the last time is like a little longer than it is in Mean Season. It's a little bit scruffier, cooler guy haircut. But yeah.
But I can't picture a world where Martin Short's wooing a woman out of Kurt Russell's arms. I'm sorry.
All right, here we go. You ready? I'm going to paint you a mental picture.
Go ahead.
You got Kurt Russell, similar haircut to the last movie, but like shorter and like combed more aggressively. Okay. Glasses, like some big boy glasses.
Some Clark Kent?
Yeah. Like not dissimilar to your yellow glasses, like size of those frames. Like big frames, like old school.
My aviators?
Yeah.
That I'm wearing right now?
Like aviator size, like big chunky eyeglasses, like an aviator size or bigger, right? You got yourself a short sleeve button up shirt, like a Dwight Schrute. Like put Kurt in a Dwight Schrute in your head.
I know, but it's still Kurt Russell's fucking face and body.
But I'm saying you do that. You let him. You make the shirt a little baggy so it appears he has a paunch, right? And then
dress
you got
Kurt Russell up like Seymour Krelborn. He doesn't turn into Rick Moranis. He's still fucking Kurt Russell.
I think you could believe now. Look, Martin Short's the wrong choice for the steal your girl type. Truly. But I believe you could have a funny Captain Ron where he's not actually stealing the wife, but Kurt thinks that's what he's doing.
Yeah, I think a Steve Martin could hold his own in like a steal your wife situation.
Okay.
Against Kurt Russell. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't think Steve Martin's like particularly attractive. I think there's just more going for him.
Okay.
And apparently at one point Rick Moranis was offered the Martin Short role, but turned it down.
That would be a better movie, unequivocally.
Truly.
He would lean into the gooberness more, which I think would make this better.
Yes. It fully. I'm like, I want that.
Martin Short is like 3/4 goober. Rick Moranis would have gone full goober.
Oh yeah, he's not afraid of the goob.
Yeah. There's also a funny bit with like some boat traffic where Martin Short is like screaming in terror. That kind of works. I kind of like that bit.
Other boats are driving perpendicular to them and being like, "Hey, asshole!"
Yeah. And we think Captain Ron is dead, which is very, very good because of the whole eye patch thing. And then Ron takes over for this mishap, and he basically power slides the boat into.
I thought we were gonna get a boat crash. I was like,
so did I.
But I think that this scene is the like sliding doors pivotal moment in the movie.
Okay, go on.
They could have gone John Candy, summer rental, great outdoors shenanigans, and had the boat crash in to the dock in a way that like clearly no one got hurt and the boat is not fully damaged, but like a crash and everyone's like, whoa, and everyone like the kids are like thrown into chairs on the dock.
You do a Star Trek like tilt the camera and everybody runs to one side.
Exactly. Or like literally they like stumble off the boat into chairs perfectly at a table or some nonsense.
Sure. Yeah. And them all taking a tumble over the thing onto the dock, like a tumble, not like a fall, and then like landing at a table for 4, and the waiter just like handing the menus would have been fantastic.
Yeah, or Captain Ron landing and being like, "Can you get around the waters?"
Yeah, come on, can we get the correct line, please? Do you want to take that again?
I don't know. Beer.
Duh.
But whatever.
All he does in this movie is drink beer. I'm not sure Captain Ron has ever had a glass of water. I think he pours beer onto his toothbrush when he brushes his teeth.
Probably. But I think this movie's problem is that it didn't know what it wanted to be, like what kind of comedy it wanted to be.
Yes.
And I think it would have served it well to be more of a John Candy shenanigans antics thing. Because every time I thought we were going to get shenanigans and antics, we didn't really get them. Like the daughter sneaks away later, and I was like, "Ooh, let me guess, there's gonna be some like giggly sneaking and whispering with a boy or something."
Right. Right.
No, we never see her come back in, and she's just back on the boat.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing, though, with like this movie doesn't know what it wants to be, is like in Summer Rental, the whole thing is like John Candy is so focused on work that he kind of is ignoring his family, and the family is like existing without him. And then he like after he hurts his leg, and there's that whole bit in that movie, he's like, oh, like I need to. Like, I'm fucking this up. I have to spend time with my family. And that character's journey is like seeing his family have fun and enjoy life without him, and realizing like I need to be not only do I need to be a part of that, I want to be part of that. And yeah. And like, you know, like whatever. The wife in Summer Rental is like kind of going on dates with that other guy and his family. It's not like dating, but like he's like replacing him in a way
exactly.
that he finds
it's like play dates for the kids, but the adults are there.
And so in this movie, if like Martin Short wasn't like the first scene we see with Martin Short and his wife is like these two are like actively connected, right?
Actively
like
in love.
Right. He's like kissing her on the neck and she's like, come on, I'm on the phone. But like not in a way that's like, ew, gross. It's like, you know, come on, you know,
wait
I'm
5
working,
minutes
you know,
till
like,
I'm off the phone.
Yeah. It's like a completely different energy. And so later we have the scene where like they get in the shower together, and it's like not like oh, this is wild. It's like, oh, this seems like a pretty normal part of their relationship, you know, that they are like still romantic and like still make efforts to each other. And so when he's like jealous of Captain Ron, it doesn't make any sense because like the wife isn't like disengaged with him and looking. The wife is engaged with
I will say the
Martin
wife
Short.
could disengage a little with Captain Ron. I mean, I would find that very hard to do myself. But
but she like I don't think the wife thinks she's like really flirting with this guy. I think the wife is
I don't think
Captain Ron, show me how to drive the boat.
I don't think she's flirting, but like when Captain Ron comes up behind her in a Speedo, like I know it's Kurt Russell. I'm like, I want that. I want that for me. It
was the 90s, baby. Sexual harassment wasn't a thing yet. It hadn't been
I'm not even saying sexual harassment, but like, hi, I have a husband who's standing right over there. I don't want this.
But he's not like rubbing on her, right? He just is like, no, you got to put your hand here.
He's doing the ghost. He's got his arms around her when she's steering. It's saucy.
I don't think it's I guess. I think it's saucy because you want to imagine yourself in
I mean, yeah, of course I want that for me, but
I'm just saying
you're telling me Kurt Russell in a Speedo coming up behind your wife isn't making she wouldn't go, hey, Kurt, thank you, but my husband. You know what I mean?
But like, I think how my wife would handle that is to make eye contact with me and roll her eyes and then like stick her shoulders back and her hips forward to create some separation. You know what I mean? Like you scooch the feet a little closer to the wheel and you let those arms extend so the shoulders are pushing a little bit against the torso of this man to keep his hips away from you. And I might like intervene because my wife was uncomfortable, but not because I was like seething with jealousy. What I
just thought it was strange that she was so like she never once was like she never once seemed kind of like eye rolly about Captain Ron, which seemed
no,
weird.
You're right. Yeah.
Like, and again, I know he's Kurt Russell, I know he's hot, and I know he's cool, but like, come on.
I just think like none of that works because the couple is like very clearly established as well connected. And it's like, if you made the movie that Martin Short is so busy at work that he's tuning out his family, then that stuff all works more. But instead you went this other way, in which case I think you need to make the movie crazy shenanigans happen as opposed to like what
you need the John Candy's
this is
isms.
Right. But this movie is doing like the Summer Rental arc without starting with the place of like this guy. Like it's all about him wanting to connect to his family, but we don't see him very disconnected from the family other than the daughter is clearly going through it.
He briefly mentions that they don't pay attention to the kids, but it's like, well, you pay attention to each other just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess I know Great Outdoors is shenanigan and antics heavy. Would you say I haven't seen Summer Rental in a minute. Is Summer Rental shenanigansy?
Summer Rental is more slobs v snobs.
More
it's
antics
like you got
than shenanigans.
Yeah. I mean, there's like some business.
There's
with
the whole
like,
wrong house thing.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it certainly has the one where he's like carrying the cooler on the beach and spilling water on people.
Yeah.
It does have a good amount of that in it. I think that was just like kind of, standard for John Candy. The whole like, this is my table where he's banging on the table. You know, like there's plenty of big
classic,
business.
Leno family line that no one else gets.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So I would say there's plenty of bits and stuff and some. Plus, like the climactic bit of Summer Rental is
the underwear.
Hey, he's flying his pants and he's like standing in his underwear and his pants have been tied up to make extra sail.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Underwear. I'd say it's pants, not underwear.
Yeah. So as you said, the daughter sneaks out here. She's making friends with. It's great.
She bribes her brother, which is clearly like par for the course.
Oh yeah. And this is the brother's like main source of income.
And then Captain Ron, which ironically is what Brighton will do later in life in The Nanny.
On The Nanny.
Very similar things will happen on The Nanny, but he is the older brother because he's the middle child in The Nanny.
Okay.
But so Captain Ron sees her pay him probably, I don't know, $5. Yeah. And she's like, if anyone asks, I went for a walk. And he looks at her and he holds out his hand and he's like, and I was like, get your payday.
Yeah, exactly. And clearly Captain Ron also just wants the $5. It's not like Captain Ron's like, it's 50 for me, slugger.
Yeah, he clearly just wants the money so that they can then play for money in their game.
Yes.
Which 100%. I've never heard of people playing Monopoly for real money.
You would need either a preposterous amount of coins or like crazy money.
Because they say 10 cents is 100, and I'm like, all right, we're getting a little in the weeds already for me.
Yeah. I don't remember what this means, but I wrote down she sneaks out with Floozy song. Is there like a ridiculous song playing?
She sneaks out with what on?
Floozy song, like the soundtrack is like something.
I mean, there were a lot of weird songs in the movie, so maybe I just don't remember.
Maybe I wrote that down, but not enough detail, obviously.
A lot of shower boning hijinks.
Yes, Ron sneaks a peek at the wife, Captain Ron, which is like pretty creepy for this character.
Well, they get trapped in the shower.
This bit is like the most hijinksy part of the movie. Obviously.
Is. They get the mop handle traps them in the shower like fucking Final Destination.
Yes.
They accidentally drop a rag down the drain somehow.
Yes.
And so
this part drives me crazy because like the wife at one point is like got it between her toes and can't just like tug it free. And I'm just like, I think like a 6-year-old has enough toe dexterity to just like
pull,
pinch this and just, you don't even have to lift it. You could just like, pull to the side and free it from the drain pipe.
Yeah. So the shower is like waist level on them. And like, they're both laughing about this still.
Yeah.
They're not panicking and like, cause you can do the 2 different energies for this, but they're both like still laughing. Like she literally goes like, please, dear God, don't let my children find me naked and drowned in the shower.
Yeah. Well, I also, it's just like, obviously it's a movie, yada, yada, yada. But I love that like the kayfabe being like, well, if it's on a boat, it would be more watertight, I guess. So the shower is like perfectly hermetically sealed when they go into it and it starts filling.
Although I feel like a lot of showers in this style have the gasket around the thing.
Yeah,
like
I think water would
shower doors that you really have to tug on when it's like a...
Yeah, but the weight of all of this water would be enough to like just trick. I'm not saying it wouldn't fill, but like water would be coming out of it.
Oh yeah.
Instead, it's like fully locked, sealed until Captain Ron comes down and opens the shower,
and they both come crashing out of it. And he like tries to start mopping up for them, and Martin Short, who's still naked by the way, is like, "No, thank you.
Yes,
please leave."
Yeah. He's like, well, this water's going to make mold. And it's like, I'm naked. God damn it.
Frankly, they should have just made Captain Ron into everyone over the age of 18 in this movie. Like, he should have been like, I mean, I'll party with you guys if you want. Like, that's absolutely the energy I think this needed.
Yeah. Captain Ron should be more like a vampire.
Exactly. I feel like surly, salty sea captains and vampires and witches are all in that, like, you're a little queer.
The sexuality should be pretty nebulous.
Should be fluid like the sea.
At sea. Yeah. Oh, that would be great. That could be the line.
Yeah.
Sexuality is...
It's like the tides. It comes in,
they go in,
out.
They come out.
And I
leave. Better movie.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he says, I forget the full line, but he does say that they were playing hide the salami in the shower.
Oh, I missed that. That's great.
Really good. Yeah.
When we next see Captain Ron, he looks like a jock at his first Pride ever. He's like a dehydrated husk. He's like dirty and his lips are covered in sunscreen so they don't chap, and his nose is covered. He just looks dry and crusty and like in a string tank top.
He looks like E.T. when he turns into the
that's exactly it. He looks like E.T. in a string tank top.
Is this the part where he catches a fly with each hand?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Because I really did enjoy that.
Captain Ron giving them all a boat quiz. What's this? What's that?
At this point, people are like actually learning the things. Like we see the family is starting to put it together a little bit.
That's the jib. I don't know. Is a jib a thing or an action?
The jib, I believe, is so the mast is the one that comes vertically out of the boat.
Uh-huh.
And then the part that makes it look like an L, there's like a lower part that holds this. So the sail is a triangle, right? And it like connects on the mast and it connects on the bottom. And the part in the bottom, I believe, is the jib.
Yeah, when it masts are either L's or T's.
Yes. And so if it's an L-shaped mast, I believe that bottom part is that's the boom.
I just asked if it was a thing or an action. I think it's a thing.
It is a thing, yes.
There we go. I just didn't need this podcast to turn into the 20 minutes of stumbling through your boat knowledge from, I don't know, 10 years ago at this point.
It's been a while. I have only ever sailed on a Sunfish, which is like the basicest of sailboats.
This is where Kurt is in his little red Speedo. Apparently most of Captain Ron's outfits came from Kurt's closet, which I believe.
Not a surprise. Yeah. Also, it's incredible to see somebody be this naked in a movie and just look like a regular person. This is probably the last time it happened. Yeah, because like the Oscars just happened, and very famously, John Cena was naked at them. Air quotes. He had like a modesty.
It's called a C string.
Okay,
because it's a C.
It looks like it has like a fishing line to hold it up.
No, so it's literally just a cup, like a cup from Jock's-a-Border, a cup with a wire that goes under and up and between your butt cheeks. So it's like a strapless thong, essentially.
Interesting. When I saw the picture of him backstage, it looked like that it had like a fishing line strap.
I don't think it did. At least I couldn't tell. But
yeah. Anyway,
he was doing protesting in a great way, and I appreciate it.
I actually didn't see the bit. I only saw pictures. What was the bit?
So he came out for costume design. Yeah, and there's been a big push for costume designers getting like better pay for all the work that they do in creating the world. So there's been a social media thing where they are like deleting, like photoshopping costumes out of a movie and being like, look at it now. And so the idea is, without us, you're naked. Yeah. And so he
well, good
was
for
part
him.
of that. Yeah. Also, he's very hot, and also that wasn't a sexual thing that we shoved in kids' faces. Right-wing people, whatever. I'll get off my soapbox.
Certified good dude, as far as I've ever heard from John Cena, would be really heartbreaking to me to find out.
Please don't drop other shoe. Please, stay up in the air. He seems like a cool guy.
I think he's kind of like a weirdo, to be clear. Like at least about his house and like whatever. Like I think he could definitely be
dirt,
a weirdo.
Like no, you have to take your shoes off and like no whatever.
Yeah. I mean
Did you do one of those Architectural Digest things?
No, there was a show which I did not watch when I was watching WWE. I watch a different wrestling company now, but when I was watching WWE, there was a show that was like, this is going to break your fucking brain. There is a show called Total Divas that is about the women wrestlers.
It was like a reality show, right?
Yes, mostly when they're not wrestling. However, that show takes place in its own kayfabe that is sometimes overlapping with the kayfabe of the regular show and sometimes not.
It wasn't just like a reality show? It was like part of it?
It was but reality shows have kayfabe, right? Like reality shows are fake. They're like there's like storylines on them and stuff. Like there is a level of kayfabe to a Real Housewives has a kayfabe, right? Like some of those women don't like each other, but some of those women pretend not to like each other for television. It's fine. I'm not saying anything about like you shouldn't watch it. I'm just saying like it's got to. So imagine trying to put together the kayfabe of the reality show that sometimes, but not all times, overlaps with the kayfabe of the wrestling show, and occasionally the actions on the wrestling show affect the reality show, and sometimes the actions on the reality show affect the wrestling show, and then it's just like all this.
They were trying to do a Marvel and be like, you have to watch 50 episodes of television and 4 movies in order to fully understand everything.
There were a lot of women who got into Total Divas and through that started watching wrestling. Like, that was definitely a thing. It worked for them. But anyway, he had a woman who he was engaged to who got her own spinoff from the Total. Again, like, this is, no one gives a shit about this. But on that show, the character that John Cena was portraying, which may or may not be actually John Cena, was like a maniac about dirt in the house and like rules about noise and putting away your dishes and things like that. And this woman was like moving in with her partner. They got engaged and never got married. And it was just like, oh, you know, I think he's married now to somebody else. But it was just like, oh, John's crazy and weird. Look at all the rules he has for his house. And it's 2 pages long and crazy.
Okay. I mean, anyone who looks like that has to be crazy about their diet. So, like, I get you're crumpet crazy and other stuff.
Yeah. Although I will say, I would love to know where he got his hair fixed because it looks great.
Hair fixed? Like, he got plugs?
Oh, John... Go look at a picture of John Cena from like 2006. He was losing that hair, and now he's got quite a carpet up there.
Oh, I mean, I'm sure he probably. No, transplant is a long recovery period. You look weird for a while. Did he disappear from wrestling at all?
He disappeared just in general for a while, and then came back with the hair. So.
Oh, then maybe I don't remember him disappearing.
He definitely had transplants. Yeah.
Well, because there, you don't have to get you can get like really good like pieces. Like I know several people that have gotten really good pieces.
He touches it a lot when he wrestles. It would be shocking to me if it was a piece.
Okay, I mean no, like I'm saying like pieces that like you glue once a month.
Maybe it's possible that's what it is. I think he got his hair fixed.
It's possible. That is a weird recovery period where you look strange for a long time.
Yeah, but he's like extremely rich and could have just been like able to hide through that, you know.
Yeah.
You know who else has pretty good ones? Kevin Costner.
Hair?
Yeah, he got the plugs up front for sure.
Okay. I've thought about it because I have a weird hairline, but it's just expensive and dumb and takes forever to heal from, and I don't want that.
You got to fly to Turkey is what you do. It is literally cheaper to fly to Turkey and have the procedure done and spend like a week recovering than it is to have it done in America.
Really? I knew
this
UK
is like there's a full
good rates.
There is like a full industry of people flying to Turkey, getting hair plugs, and coming back.
Anyway, wait, hang on. Plugs or transplants? Because I think that's different. Transplant is like fully just like you look like a bleeding porcupine for a couple months.
Hair plugs are a transplant.
Is it the same thing?
There are two different ways they do. I'm probably using the terms interchangeably and shouldn't, but they are both pretty similar procedures.
Gotcha.
We get attacked by a belt sander.
Yeah, Martin Short gets knocked into the ocean.
And I had a legitimate laugh when they're like, somebody give him a ladder. And is it Ron?
It's Ron.
I forget who does it. He drops the, like, unconnected to the boat, drops the ladder and hits Martin Short with it. You don't see it. You just hear the, like, clang.
Yeah, they do the great, like, the camera is Martin Short. And then we learn in the next scene he dropped the ladder. Like, completely, the ladder's just gone now.
Yes. No longer a part of the boat. Who gets into a nice looking bathing suit here? Because my next note says Auga.
It's Kurt.
Is this Kurt?
It's Kurt in his Speedo.
Red. Okay. I thought you said that happened already. So
I skipped the not getting knocked into the ocean part.
Okay.
I was too ready to
so this is
jump ahead.
This is all the stuff we talk about. Yeah, the wife and the yada yada yada. We already said all this stuff.
Ron gets a little pervy with a camcorder.
Yes. He gets caught by Martin Short, like filming.
I thought this camcorder was going in the ocean.
Yes, yeah. I do love his explanation. Is like, I'm just trying to learn how to use it for you there, boss. It's got all kinds of buttons.
Yeah, I didn't use any film. But I saw this. I was like, oh, this camcorder is going right in the ocean because Martin Short's like, this is a very expensive 65-page manual, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, he's going to get bumped. And no, he just drops it and it, quote unquote, breaks.
Yeah.
We don't even get like something hanging out by a spring, which is like always movie speak for like this thing's completely broken.
Yeah. I just the fact that they introduced this just so that Kurt could be a perv and then Martin Short could catch him being a perv and then Martin Short could break his own camera. I don't quite get what the movie was.
You could have saved a few minutes here.
Yeah.
If Carpenter was at the helm, they would have cut it.
Yeah. You get a great boat stunt here.
Which stunt is that?
Where he duct tapes the bricks.
Oh, well, he tosses the anchor into the ocean without tying it off, which I did with a crab trap as a child. I don't remember if this has been a podcast story or not.
Yes, that is a real thing that happened.
But I tossed the crab trap
rope attached to
over
it.
the edge, and then I watched as the sea slurped up the rope like spaghetti.
Our brother got it back with a fishing rod.
Yeah, our oldest brother managed, because it's not going to go too far, so he managed to hook it and pull it back up. And I've never forgotten to do that since.
Yeah, no.
But Kurt is duct taping bricks to Brighton from the nanny's feet, and he's telling him to go pick up the anchor and pull on the string, and I'll hoist you back up.
It's so good. It's like such a cartoon character thing, and that it's like kind of happening in the background, and then there's like hey, wait, what are you doing with my son?
Well, then he sees his dad, and he's like, never mind, I'll handle it myself.
Yeah.
I love this like crashed plane food truck restaurant situation. It's very much like a theme park thing.
It is absolutely a theme park. It's theme park quick service restaurant.
You can get 6 things here: soft drink, fountain sodas, French fries, hot dogs, and they have one unique thing like smothered corn dogs, nuggets.
They're chicken fingers, but they put tahini on top.
Yeah. And they're shaped like dinosaurs.
Yes. There's this whole thing about like, you can't, Martin Short wants to go back, and he's like, you can't go back. There's gorillas here. And he's like, there's no gorillas here. What are you talking about?
On
there's
the
no
path.
Gorillas here.
Be careful of gorillas. Yeah. And again, because of this toxic masculinity bullshit, and Martin Short's like, I have to prove I'm a man, and I know the woods. And it's like, but you don't. You're a man who knows math, and that's fine.
This part was so confusing to me, because they're like, stick to the path. It's like, why wouldn't he stick to the path? Like, if you hadn't told him to stick to the path, he would have never thought to do anything else. And he only doesn't stick to the path out of spite. And it's just like, this is so stupid.
Yes.
What are you
doing? Stupid macho bullshit.
But he's a dweeb. Like, this guy got his underwear pulled over his head in high school.
It's the macho toxic masculinity where you're like, I'm a man, which means I have to know camping and woods and outdoors survivalism. And it's like, but you don't.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Right.
You can be a math man, and that's okay.
Right. It's like, this is you're deep in the jungle here.
Yeah. This is where I started to feel like it definitely feels like Kurt is trying to steal his family from him.
Yes. Honestly, wouldn't that be a very funny movie if like that's what it was, and the end result was Martin Short being like, I have to get them back?
I mean, kind of, yeah. If it's like, but then Kurt's like gaslighting the wife and everyone, and being like,
yeah, that's fair.
I'm not. Which maybe has Kurt ever been a full villain?
I don't know. I don't think so, but it makes me think it's possible. I don't believe so, though.
I feel like he'd be a good one.
You know what? He's a villain in the Quentin Tarantino one where he plays Stuntman Mike.
Is that the 60s one?
The Grindhouse.
Oh, Grindhouse. Or no, is he
Grindhouse?
Planet Terror or Grindhouse?
Grindhouse is the name of both of them. Planet Terror is the name of the one that Robert Rodriguez directed, and the Tarantino one is called Death Proof.
Oh, right. He's the driver.
Yes, he's the stuntman who has the special car that he kills people with.
Because as long as you're driving the car, you can't die, I think.
Yes. Yeah.
Turns out Kurt Russell meant G-U-E-R, Illas,
yes,
not G-O-R, Illas.
Yes, which is just like incredibly stupid all around, but
good joke though.
He does get grabbed with a bunch of guys with guns.
And Martin Short's very angry, and he goes down into the boat, and he sees his son cleaning 3 guns, and Captain Ron is like, yeah, I thought we would need him for the Pirates of the Caribbean, which is to get some fun jokes.
And Martin Short loses his mind and is like, what do you think, we're going to Dollywood next?
No, he says Disney World, and Kurt Russell says, I've never been to Disney World. I've been to Dollywood.
Oh, that's right. Which, like, checks out. Captain Ron would have been to Dollywood.
Oh, yeah. Although a little inland for him, I feel like.
I get the feeling that Captain Ron was an inland man until about 18 and then decided the sea's the place for me.
There we go. So Martin Short throws the guns overboard and Captain Ron is like, well, those guys who held you at gunpoint, we're giving them a ride. And Martin Short's like, no, we're not. And he goes, okay, just give them their guns back and we'll call it square. So now we're stuck with these mercenaries or whatever, revolutionaries for the rest of the movie.
We're a taxi service for this group of people.
I wanted these, like, revolutionary men or whatever to kind of become a your crew or your coup moment.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I wanted them to be, like, braiding hair at one point.
I was hoping they would be kind of like Muppet Treasure Island business.
They would be the Muppets. I want these people to be the Muppets in Muppet Treasure Island. Have you seen the internet meme where someone says they want the next Knives Out to be a Muppet movie where the only human is Benoit Blanc?
Benoit Blanc. I would be all here for that.
I mean, you can't really get a murder, but, you know.
I mean, it could be a murder. Maybe they're doing a murder mystery and a Muppet gets murdered that's not a Muppet we've ever seen.
Well, that's the thing. But then there's going to be two Muppets we've never heard or given a shit about. One of them dies, and then mysteriously the other one is a very important character. We've never talked about him in any Muppet piece of thing ever. Because, like, you can't say Kermit and, like, Miss Piggy can't be a murderer. You can't come back from that. So it has to be like someone has, you know, kidnapped Camilla the chicken. Or,
well, I don't want to spoil Knives Out. Have you seen Knives Out?
Yeah.
There's not a murderer in Knives Out.
I mean, I guess. But in the second one, is there a murder in the second one?
No. I mean, the second one is weird and convoluted, and it's like revenge for a murder.
Yeah.
But it's not really about a murder. It's about a different kind of crime. So Benoit Blanc could be involved.
Yeah, that's what he does. I wouldn't want to murder for this just because it's a little much.
Wait, what if it's this? The Muppets are signing an extension to their standard Rich and Famous contract.
Mm-hmm.
And the man who's offered them that contract, like, does the explanation. He's like, take it, you know, let your lawyers look it over. You bring it back tomorrow and you sign it. And they come in and this man is now dead. Now all the Muppets are under suspicion because they were the last ones to speak to him.
That's fair. But again, none of them are going to be the one who did it.
Right. But that's fine. Well, you know,
I think it could. I think it needs to be more like someone stole the
Fozzie Bear could get away with having done a murder and people would be okay.
You think? No, Sweetums.
Yes.
Or frankly, Sweetums Sam Eagle. Obvious. If you told me Sam Eagle shot someone, I'd be like,
like if Gonzo did a murder, you'd forgive him.
Maybe.
You'd be like, he had that existential crisis when he saw himself as a skeleton in the Haunted Mansion special, and it just like...
Well, and his whole family is aliens in outer space, and they left him here.
Camilla left him.
He chose to be left here, but...
Camilla left him.
I think we got to go more like someone stole the pie, or like someone stole Sam Eagle something.
What if they stole the Muppets standard Rich and Famous contract? That could be it.
There we go. And there it is. Or like, our show is ending, but we have to do this one thing before it ends, and then that thing they need to do is gone because someone didn't want the show to end.
Yeah, no, that would work too.
I was thinking
they don't know what to do with
high stakes, but like no murders. It's basically what I want.
Would be. Also, there's so many like ancillary human characters that have been related to the Muppets and things over the years that you could have one of them get murdered and it would probably be fine.
Yeah, like the one from Jason, not Statham. Segel.
If Jason Segel got murdered.
Or Jason Segel's brother, I was going to say.
Oh, Walter? Yeah. I don't think they're brothers.
I thought they were brothers. I thought that was the whole point.
So I always thought that too. And then in the song Amy Adams sings, she says that he's always off with his friend. And it seems like an insane thing that you would sing, even if you were trying to like fit things in rhymingly.
Huh. I don't know that I've seen that one in a very long time, so I'll have to check that one out.
Anyway, we got to get back to this. There's a great Hold My Beer Kid.
Put Kurt and Goldie in the next Benoit Blanc.
Well, what's her face was in it? Kate Hudson.
That was such a funny joke. Please tell me you didn't think a sweatshop was where they made sweatpants.
It's her second best performance ever.
Yeah.
There's like we get a classic Hold My Beer Kid, which I like a lot from Kurt to his adopted boy here.
Yeah. There's really great like whimsical, majestic music as they get the sails up.
Yeah, this is crazy. Like, there's like the rope's tangled and they get the rope fixed, and it's like very triumphant when it's like, all right, cut the engines. The sails are up. We don't need the engine anymore. We're sailing. And it's like really built as if like the whole movie is been building
hinges on this
like,
point.
We're sailing now. And I was just like, I don't understand. You're like, why do I didn't know I was even supposed to be considering caring about this.
So they end up at an island that Cameron basically just has kidnapped this family and these revolutionaries and is just taking them wherever he wants.
Well, it's supposed to be that like they were supposed to go to all these like very famous places, and because Kurt is on the run, he's taking them to these like seedy dumps instead.
Well, are they famous places? I thought they were like boring places no one's ever heard of.
But they're like national parks boring. Like that, it's like that kind of boring.
Oh, I thought it was like these are sponge farmers. Like, I've never heard of the famous sponge farm in the Caribbean.
There is a sponge farm joke, but one of the first ones they do is like the equivalent of like, oh, it's Captain Cook's memorial. It's not that, but like it's that kind of thing. We get a little siren here tempting.
I thought we were getting a vacation style sexy woman.
Yes, same. I thought this was going to be a man.
That would have been good. Long-haired like island man.
Yeah, and then like turn around and oops, that's a penis. And Martin Short's like, and he falls over the boat. Yeah, it's like what I thought was going to happen.
Or Kurt Russell's like, oh, I always come and see him when I'm here. Dive into the water like Pocahontas.
Would have been fine, yeah. But instead it's a sexy lady, and
then Martin Short is like picking up a flare gun and aiming it at them, and I was like, yes, you can't. Your movie is not this movie.
Yes. Also, Kurt says she wants my masthead.
I thought he said manhood, and I was like, people don't talk like that.
No, you're right. It is manhood. I just have terrible handwriting.
And then Martin Short accidentally fires the flare into the boat.
Yes. So the boat is on fire, and also someone is
not on fire. It's just it should be, because flares, at least according to movies, flares catch things on fire real quick. Like,
yes,
that.
I think they burn very hot, and if you put it up to something that had like an accelerant or like a pile of rags, it would go. But I don't know that it would necessarily the hull of the boat would catch fire instantly.
What's the movie? Maybe it's Cape Fear, where it ends with the couple on a boat and the guy is washing the woman's hair on the boat, and then his hands are replaced by the killer's hands, and then the killer gets shot with a flare gun. I feel like Mom knows this movie.
I think that's Cape Fear.
Because I think it's Jessica Lange. Jessica Lange's in Cape Fear.
I have not watched the Scorsese Cape Fear in a long time, but I did recently watch the other Cape Fear, and the final showdown is on a little boat, like you're describing.
You know what? I have seen the Scorsese, because I forgot Scorsese to Cape Fear.
Oh, okay.
So Cape Fear was my first Scorsese, not Goodfellas.
Okay, all right. Well, now we know. Martin Short is blinded by the flare, though, and he's doing these like big vaudeville type jokes here, like stumbling around and like
bonking into things.
Yeah. And it was just like, kind of a dumb.
Also, there's a sewing machine on the boat.
Yes.
His wife. Oh, could we forget? This is apparently Clark Gable's boat.
Yes, we saw his initials earlier.
No, we didn't. We were told that. We see his initials now.
Oh, okay.
We were told that Martin Short's uncle bought it from Clark Gable. Yes. So his wife is like, "Look at this! It's Clark Gable," and I can't remember.
I don't remember the woman's name.
But over their shoulder is like an industrial-looking sewing machine, and I was like, "Why is that on this boat?"
That is really weird. I also noticed, like, I don't understand why this family, their television references are so fucking old.
Everyone's I Love Lucy.
I Love Lucy, Mr. Ed, Gilligan's Island. They're like obsessed with Clark Gable. And I'm like,
is this TV Land? Like, is this family just like pitching TV Land?
Right. And it's just like, I mean, I saw a couple of Gilligan's Islands at some point or another in my life, but I was growing up at this time, and these were not like the Touchpoint television shows.
Yeah, it's like those were my Nick at Night shows.
No, these are a generation older than our Nick at Night shows. Our Nick at Night shows was like Brady Bunch, which is like.
But we also had. I thought it was Gilligan's too.
I remember Gilligan a little. I definitely don't remember Mr. Ed. And I Love Lucy was like old black and white.
No,
TV.
Not Mr. Ed, but Gilligan's Island was definitely part of the rotation in Nick at Night around the time we were.
I do not remember Gilligan's Island. I remember the one with Tootie.
Oh, that's Girls.
The Facts of Life?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the other one I remember other than Brady Bunch. But anyway, they find the initials. We get down, and now we've got some new sunglasses.
Yeah, some like real snowboarding sunglasses.
Yeah. A big storm rolls in, which I was like, finally, it's a boat movie. When was that going to happen?
Some nice theme park boat acting.
Yes, a lot of buckets of water being hurled at them from off screen.
A lot of shifting your weight and tilting and
yes,
tying on a life raft, a life vest.
And then we see a toy boat in a tank of water, which I really enjoyed. Like
with like a projection background.
Yeah. Kurt takes the chart out. This part I found just like completely ludicrous. That it's just like this driving storm.
This is where it feels like a Disney Channel TV show. Where they pull out the map and whoosh, and then the compass breaks.
I was like, did he have a head injury? Like what preceded him being like, better take out this piece of paper in a driving wind and rainstorm?
Right? And then Kurt is like, oh, I know we're almost there. And when Martin Short
they run out of fuel here too.
Huh?
They run out of fuel here as well.
That was the joke I was setting up.
I'm sorry.
You dingus.
I'm sorry.
Kurt and Martin Short goes, how do you know we're almost there? And Kurt goes, well, we left with just enough fuel to make it there, and we just ran out of fuel. And so Martin Short goes to strangle him.
Yes.
And then the daughter sees land, and I was like, I wonder what hellhole they'll end up. Oh, no, they actually ended up where they wanted to be for the first time, which is wild.
Yes. And then we see the kid with an eye patch, which I genuinely guffawed at.
Well, his glasses broke, and so he replaced the one lens with just a piece of black paper.
Yes, it's fantastic. There is an insane bit where Kurt and the son go off together, and Kurt's eye falls out, and we get the sound of a marble rolling across a tile floor.
And it keeps bouncing on the cobblestone.
It's so insane. He's like asking the kid to crawl around and find it, and he's yelling, my eye fell out, and literally nobody even turns their head a little bit.
If you were at a Pride and your eye fell out, you're kind of screwed. Sorry. So I get it. I'm picturing that kind of energy at Carnival.
Really? Like, I've been to pretty crowded concerts, and when someone's like, I lost my phone, can everybody help me? Like, can everybody give me some space to look? Like, it has not been a big deal for people to like look down.
It depends. I've been there's parts of Philly Pride that get so congested that like my boyfriend almost had a panic attack because we had to like, because it's basically like two schools of salmon and just trying to like get past each other while some people are just stopped standing in the middle, and it's like a nightmare. So like if you drop something in that section, sorry.
Yeah. This is the part, like, I don't really like this movie very much, but this part of the movie I found infuriating, and this is like the thing that always drives me nuts in these movies, is like Martin Short has not spent a single second of non-chore time with his kid in this movie that we have ever seen.
And the whole thing, he was bitching the whole time, like, we have to do something for our kids so we can spend time together and we'll do all these weird stuff. And then he never wants to actually see them.
Right. And then he's like wondering why the kid is like acting like Captain Ron and wearing an eye patch and stuff. It's like, Captain Ron spends time with him and the child enjoys it. Just do something. Do anything that's not like, well, you got to scrape the barnacles, kid, like do something that's not a chore.
And then they end up in jail because Martin Short found a cop and said, we are transporting revolutionaries.
Yes. Yeah, this is just, you don't confess to crimes in foreign nations. No. I'm sorry.
Like, come on. I know you're a white dude, but come on.
Yeah. So they get thrown out of the country. And then at this point, this is a reference for like maybe only me, but there's a game I enjoy called Tropico that's sort of like a Sim City, but tropical islands. Mm-hmm. And the music here is just, I think, almost exactly a Tropico song. Like, it may be like it's public domain now and it's in Tropico, but like, dun, 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 dun. And I played a lot of Tropico, so I was like, oh shit.
The daughter is like, oh, I'm glad you guys are back already. I got a tattoo.
Yeah, they faint.
They see the son, their kid show up who looks like he has a tattoo, and he's running around and like zips back to the boat.
The kid looks like he has a spider tattoo on his face.
No, it's an eagle on his chest.
Oh, okay. What?
Martin Short referred to this guy's dreadlocks as a spider on his head, and I was like, that's okay. The weirdest version of racism I've ever heard.
So, yes, okay, yes. I wrote, holy shit, spider on his head, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, is that the tattoo? No.
Well, okay. I thought he was I was like, does this guy have a spider on his tattoo? And then it goes, they're dreadlocks. And I was like, oh, it's just awful, weird racism.
Yeah, like, super racism, yeah. Also, like, the whole thing panicking about the kid having gotten a tattoo, it's like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure there's no country on earth where a little white boy rolls in and is like, I'd like a tattoo on my chest, please. And they're like, okay. You don't have money, but that's
maybe fine. Maybe it's not a legit shop. Who knows? But then Captain Ron's like, we were all playing strip Monopoly. And I was like, with a child?
Yeah, also weird. Ron.
Come on.
Not better. Not better. We get a lot of pratfalls in this sequence as well.
Martin Short is like being a responsible parent, and he's like, my family get back on the boat, we're leaving, Captain Ron, you're fired. And the movie tries to be like, wow, Martin Short's an asshole. And I was like, well, no, like, these children are drinking and getting tattoos, and like,
right,
he's being a responsible parent. Shut up.
Right.
All of a sudden they're being followed by pirates.
Yes, the actual Pirates of the Caribbean. They end up in the lifeboat.
We don't even get to see a second of pirating.
Yeah.
We see the pirates come up on them on their boat, in their little boat.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden the family's in a life raft. And I was like, yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah, agreed.
In your hour and 40-minute movie, you couldn't shuffle things around and show a little bit of scuffle.
Right. I wanted like I'm the captain now, you know?
Well, because at first I was like, oh, is this Captain Ron in this little rubber dinghy? And he's going to happen upon the family and save the day.
Right.
And I was like, no, it's just, this is the family now.
We get some more head trauma.
Oh, yeah.
And then they end up on land?
They end up on land, I don't know, 100 yards from their actual boat.
Yes.
And then the movie tries to be like, isn't it stupid how convenient this is? And I was like, yeah, you wrote this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought there was going to be some sort of like bit about them ending up in Cuba, and there being some sort of thing about them getting help from Cuban people, and it being like,
Martin Short's screaming like, we have to get out of here because this is Cuba. And I was like,
right.
That's a very aggressive thought for this.
Well, I mean, it was at the time where Americans were terrified of the country, so.
Weird.
Yeah. Also, this is the point where I was like, again with the I Love Lucy reruns, like, is there an explanation for this in the movie that I just missed? Like, is there a part where Martin Short is a TV executive who only programs like the late night hours after the news is run? The boy recognizes their boat by its mast, which is like,
seems wild.
Like, oh, yeah. It's supposed to be like, oh, look, he's learned a thing. And it's just like, I guess, but also it seems like pretty insane.
And also, again, because she's like, what are the chances that our raft flops onto the same island our boat is on? And I was like, yeah, I also want to know that information.
Right. Well, also, like, clearly the pirates did them a favor by dropping them into a place where like current was going to carry them to land as opposed to just leaving them adrift at sea.
Yeah.
But then why did the pirates also go that way?
Go to a different island, pirates.
Right. There are infinite choices. Pick a different one. The daughter, Caroline, tries to get them all killed.
I was like, this family's going to fight off pirates, and not in like a fun Pirates of the Caribbean pirates kind of way, like actual current contemporary pirates with guns.
Well, so like there's a way in which the pirate scene is, oh God, the pirates are coming. And then the family's like, we got to do something. Oh, well, let's try to use the boat for defense, which they kind of do. Like Martin Short like rides the boom out at one point, like knocks the guy off. But like there's a way in which that is kind of a fun sequence there as opposed to when it does happen. And
I think them trying to outrun the pirates using their knowledge and like swinging things around to knock them off the boat, that's fun.
Yeah.
This on land, like we have to sneak up on the pirates who are dismantling our boat, like,
yes.
You're not sorry, white suburban family. Like, I don't think the Leno family would fare well against pirates either. Sorry.
Also, like the whole like, oh, they're stripping it for parts. What on this boat is valuable for parts? We've known this boat to be a piece of shit since we saw it.
I mean, maybe engine parts or like wood,
but the engine sucks.
Raw materials.
Like, the engine sucks, and we constantly are learning that there's dry rot that has ruined the wood of the boat. So it's like, there just seems to be very little value in parting out this boat. Now, if it's like, hey, any seaworthy boat is worth it, because then we're pirates and we, use it to try to steal other boats, fine. But the whole, like, oh, it's a boat chop shop felt so strange to me.
Yeah, it was silly. But then Captain Ron said, the daughter starts to scream, but no one hears it. Captain Ron shows up in his car to save the day.
Yes, and we filmed the tire go over the edge and come back with the car. Like, there's like a 25-second long, like, the tire went over. Oh, wait, the tire went back onto land. And I was just like, why are both of these shots in this movie? We do not need to pad the runtime.
We don't. So they have a real like theme park chase sequence.
Yeah.
And then Captain Ron leads him in a circle back to the boat, and he is like, Martin Short, get out and start the boat. I'll take your family on another loop. But I was like, or maybe the whole family gets out. You know?
And you take another loop, Captain Ron.
Yeah, buddy. Because I was like, oh, if the third act of this movie is Captain Ron has kidnapped his family, I'm interested but annoyed.
Yeah. And so this is the part where Martin Short is firing up the boat, and you wanted it to be a little more hand-holdy about the oil, but I was like, oh, this is why they were so heavy on the oil the whole time. Fire up the boat. We hide from the bad guys. Their truck, right?
Yeah, they're chasing them in a truck.
Yeah. And then...
all of a sudden, Brighton from The Nanny is like, basically, I wish you were my dad, Captain Ron. And then the daughter's like, don't be so hard. It's not Dad's fault. And then they pause. And then the whole family looks around like, we all agree Dad's a piece of shit, right? Martin Short's awful, right? We all secretly agree on that fact. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
And then the mom defends him a little,
she doesn't
but it's
say
pretty
anything.
It's a little half-hearted. She does like a, now guys, kind of like,
and then doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, you guys.
Yeah.
Say stop. Say a compliment.
Yeah.
Say a thing.
So
but
they
this
run to the
Captain
boat.
Ron, you see Captain Ron's gears turn and be like, I'm going to let Martin Short be the hero to his family.
Yes.
Because Captain Ron is a fun uncle, but kids need parents.
Yeah. They get on the boat, and as they do their all aboard, Ron's like, I broke my leg.
It's really funny. He slips down the stairs and kind of looks, he's kind of shrugs, all right, here we go. Broke my leg.
Yeah, and he's hobbled to the couch, and he's like, no, you guys can do this. And this is where Martin Short, he rides the boom and knocks the guy over, and then they have to haul him back in, but they can barely do it.
And the family knows how to use the boat now. The mom's
yes,
hoist the jib.
Yeah,
and whatever.
Raise the mainsail.
Batten the hatches.
They finally get the boat going. They go to check on Captain Ron. Oops, it's fake. He's not hurt. But the engine conks out right here.
So then they get to Captain Ron. So this part was very annoying because Captain Ron is like, these pirates, they'll come after you with everything they got until you're dead. It's an honor thing. And so the family is rushing to get the boat ready for sailing. And I was like, it would be a really great way to build tension if we saw the fucking pirates.
Yes.
Because they get the boat ready. I was like, let me guess. These pirates don't give a shit. Yeah. They're not coming. And then they get their whole thing ship shape and sailing. And they turn around like, there's pirates. And I was like, well, where have they use them to build tension? Come on.
Right. Yeah, it's sloppy.
Show, don't tell. You're a movie.
He also is I crossed these guys before, and it's oh, so you know something about them, and it's
I thought I was going to say they took my eye. I thought that's where that was going.
I did too, yes. The other part that's really good is as the engine conks out, somebody says, do you smell something? And Kurt does a pit check.
Yeah, he does. Captain Tron tries to radio for help as the family's getting ready. The pirates fire their gun. Mom pulls out the flare gun. And we think it explodes their boat, but then we realize it's just a Coast Guard.
Yes. Also, there's a funny bit where Kurt is like, well, we're all gonna fucking die. And I was like, well, you could help. I get what really you're doing. Dude. Right. If you think you could get us out of this, maybe you should get us out of this.
The Coast Guard saves the day. Martin Short is the captain of the boat now.
Yes.
They get to dry land, and we get that Cat in the Hat ass ending for Captain Ron.
Yeah, it's like everyone's got big smiles. He's like, "Hey, you're the captain now," and then
I'll miss you most of all, Scarecrow.
Yes. And then he walks across the street, and they're like, Captain Ron, Captain Ron. And you see him start to turn, and a bus comes by, and then he's gone. And we get this, like, really belabored voiceover from Martin Short that's just like...
The ending page of the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, our family was closer than ever because of the mysterious Captain Ron, who we never heard from again, even though our daughter had a baby 9 months later.
Also, so the families get taken the boat to the boat broker guy, who's a singer. I can't remember his name, but he's a real singer. Anka?
Oh, okay.
Paul Anka? Anka?
Paul Anka.
Anka, yeah.
He's a big crossword puzzle clue answer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he like put your head on my shoulder is one. So they're there. Mom is like, what?
That just makes me think of the horrible joke in Not Another Teen Movie with the conjoined twins, where the guy changes the lyric to heads.
No. Mom is like scrubbing the boat one last time. I'm like, why bother, lady? Like it was ransacked by pirates. And then Mom comes up and goes, we can do one of two things. We can sell this boat and go back to our normal lives, or don't. And the whole family's like, woohoo! And I'm like, well, what does or don't mean?
What is the plan?
I feel like you should establish exactly what this means.
You can't be an influencer for like 25 years. Like in 2014, you could have been like, oh, we're going to make a YouTube channel, and you would have been the first person to come up with it, and you might have had a bunch of success.
And now van life is such a prominent fucking thing among rich white people. It's like, God.
But it's just like, what were you doing in 1992? You don't have that much money. I guess they could be like the McAllisters. They're just like, they sell the house. They have
quiet
a bunch of money now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, this feels like a you're going to live with me now moment where like, this requires a larger conversation. Yeah. Because they're all like, turn the boat around. Where are we going? I don't know. Woo-hoo! And it's like, yeah, maybe we should have a conversation.
Yeah. And look, I get this is a stupid movie and they're just trying to end it. But like, you could do like, well, how about one more adventure, And then it's like, it's not like infinite adventure.
Or like, let's keep like, you know what? Why don't you look up how much a dock rental is in Miami? And this will be like something that's like, we're keeping the boat and our life.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna do both. Like you can be. You don't have to live on a boat. Like you can. Right. You can have a boat and not live on it.
Right. You're like, what are you gonna homeschool these kids? Like, what's happening here?
And then we see Captain Ron's new victims
with a new hair that is like impossibly different.
I mean, he unbraided a few things and just put it back in a low pony.
Oh, this felt like a reshoot to me. This felt like a different movie hair. It was happening.
I mean, it's possible, but I didn't think it was that different.
Also, we didn't mention that he does give a big old smooch goodbye to the wife, which is kind of funny.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
In terms of final thoughts, I was hoping to like this a lot more than I did. As a podcast that loves Kurt Russell, and a person who loves Kurt Russell is just like not what I thought this would be.
It's perfectly middling.
Yeah.
If you rent a beach house or a mountain house or a cabin in the woods, and this is a tape that they have in their collection, watch it.
This does feel like it's got to be at a beach house to me. I feel like if you watch this at a cabin, it's the wrong energy. This is like, you put some drinks on, you put this on maybe while you're cooking dinner, so it's just like on for noise.
Yeah. If you happen upon this movie, watch it, but I don't think you need to seek it out.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to stream very often. Part of the reason I've never seen it is because it doesn't ever seem to be available on streaming, which, probably a weird rights issue or something like that.
I'm sure.
But this is not as much fun as last week's episode for sure, and would be in the bottom chunk of the Kurt Russell movies that I've watched.
I agree. Actually, hang on, Rick Moranis, and then not in the sexy way, but John Candy as Captain Ron.
Yeah, you could make that work.
Just a goofball.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just do Summer Rental 2, and it's Captain Ron, and it's John Candy and the family, and then Captain Ron. I'm fine with this.
I'm here for this.
like I know how to sail, but I have to have this guy on the boat, whatever. I'm all right
for legal reasons or whatever.
Yeah. Summer Rental is the better version of the sailing family comedy, I would say.
It is.
It's a very specific niche. That section at the video store was these 2 tapes.
It was literally 2. It was an end cap. It wasn't even an aisle.
It wasn't even an end cap. It was the top shelf of an end cap. You know how they're like kind of triangular shaped? They're pyramid. Yeah. So like the top shelf only has 2 tapes, then it's 3, 4, cascading out as you go down. The top row was like family sailing comedies, and it was just these 2 movies. And then below that, it was like Die Hard, and it was just the 3 Die Hard films. Anyway, I don't know of any other family sailing comedies. I'm sure there are some.
I'm sure, but they don't seem to be a big deal.
Well, it's just like I went skiing for the first time in a long time a couple weeks ago, and the night before I was like, oh, let me put on a skiing movie. And the only
movie.
Well, yeah, and I was like, there's got to be something out there. And I was like, I know about Better Off Dead. I don't know if my wife's going to like Better Off Dead. And I pulled it up, and there was like half a dozen or more ski comedies in the 80s that are just like ways to get away with sexual assault, basically. Like,
I mean, that's a lot of 80s movies.
Yeah. But the ski comedies kind of universally are sort of like Porky's-esque, and then there's Better Off Dead, and then there's the other option, which is the Frozen horror movie, which we had seen before, so I wasn't going to put that on. Yeah, people get trapped on the ski lift. But yeah, anyway, if you have a great family sailing comedy that we're missing, you let us know, and I'll also revise the shelf.
A quick fact check, and Gordon Corman. It is Gordon Corman. It's Island. He wrote Everest, and he wrote Dive, which are 3 of the many series he's written, including Kidnapped and the Son of the Mob books.
Is Dived about scuba diving?
Yes. It's the same, like, teens in, like, a scuba diving program situation.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll conclude Russel-Mania number 2, a month we may revisit sometime in the future. Nothing concrete on the plans so far, but we are heading into another theme month, and this time it's going to be a little wild because this is the largest Apsit Moa in the history of the program.
Yeah, it is.
There are potentially 4 slots for you should you choose to take them all. So we will certainly look forward to that, and starting with
the first one is going to be Butcher, Baker, Nightmare Maker.
Okay, there's a comma in there, I believe.
Butcher, comma, Baker, comma, Nightmare Maker.
Oh, is that right? Okay, I thought it was a butcher baker.
Oh,
like
no,
a person who it was like a, you know how there's like Pizza Huts that are also Taco Bells, or KFCs.
I mean, a butcher baker would be like someone who makes savory pies, which I'm here for.
Oh no, I thought it was like one shop, but it was like, the husband's the butcher.
Oh, I thought a butcher baker is a person who kills the animals and makes savory pies out of them.
That would be good, but I was thinking like Henderson's butcher baker, and it's like Bill Henderson butcher, Susan Henderson baker.
How heteronormative of you that the woman's the baker.
Yes, it was. I did specifically say that all 3 times. Women can be butchers too. In the scenario I was thinking, it wasn't. Maybe it's a gay couple. Maybe it's Bill Henderson and Tom Henderson, and one of them is a baker.
Or they're lesbian. Honestly, it feels more like a pair of lesbians. Gotta be honest.
Also fine. But I was thinking of like a combined dumb shop. But anyway, that'll be the first entry in this year's Apsit Moa. Of course, Andrew programs the show in the month of April. That very catchy acronym. So we will be back in 2 weeks for that. Thank you so very much for listening to the show. Don't forget to hit us up on Patreon. Get some more episodes of the show, 24 to be exact. Nearly 34 hours of bonus episodes instantly unlocked at the $5 level. Hit us up on Facebook or say hi on Twitter. It's at Dissect the 80s on Twitter. And follow us there so you can keep up when we have schedule changes and stuff. We try to post them there. I should be better at posting there, but I suck at it, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying my best. That, I think, is all we've got for you now. So until next time, I've been Trip Leno.
I will always be Andrew Leno.
Until next time.
Don't you forget about me.
Dissecting the 80s is a Chum Some of This production.